Happy Wednesday, folks. We're going to get into some Lions news. I want to apologize not making a video yesterday. It has been crazy busy. I'm actually in the process of moving, and so there is a lot of moving parts. I'll try to get another video out, and the lack of graphics is simply because I don't really got the time right now. So let's get into Lions news. We'll break it all down for you. And as soon as I'm not busy, I can't wait to make the better videos for you guys, the graphics and all that stuff that you all love. Some of you love. But let's get in here. This is something that we've been talking about for a while. Dan Skipper joining the Detroit Lions coaching staff. I've been talking about this. I think I made 3 videos on it because that's where he's going to coaching. And he was going to be coming, obviously, to the Lions as a coach. Why is that? Because he is awesome. Right, he is definitely, you could tell, we've looked at Dan Skipper throughout the years being in Detroit. He is most definitely bred to be a coach. Most definitely bred to be a coach. He is that personality, goes all in. And just because he's not the most talented guy in the world doesn't mean he can't be a great coach. I mean, a lot of great coaches are former players that maybe didn't make it, at a high level. And so, I love Dan Skipper. We all love Dan Skipper. It's great that he's coming back to Detroit. This is, I don't know what his role is going to be, but I'm going to say assistant offensive lines coach because that's the one that left. So, shout out to Dan Skipper. We love him. I can't wait to see him in training camp. Big old Dan Skipper. Hey, one thing that does suck about with Dan Skipper, we're not going to see him fight anymore on the field. Coaches can't be fighting. So show some love to Dan Skipper in the comments. We love this guy. Happy staying in Detroit. I want to see him I want to see his whole career in Detroit, all the way till he retires from coaching. We got some sad news here. Former Lion passed away. Tracy Scroggins at the age of 56, young. It says it was a profound sadness. He announced the passing and beloved Tracy Scroggins. TMZ. Tracy was a devoted father, cherished family member, loyal friend whose life marked by remarkable strength. 60 sacks. Now, I got to say this. I don't remember watching him. I was a young buck. He played in 92. I was 7 years old at that time. So I don't remember a lot of his play. I bet you Herm knows, obviously. Herm played with him. But, man, that sucks, man. Too young. Rest in peace, my friend, former Lion into the Pride. Jahmyr Gibbs doesn't hold back when asked about David Montgomery with the Detroit Lions. And I'm really starting to believe now, with the hiring of Drew Petzing, that David Montgomery is going to stay here. I do think so. David Montgomery and Petzing spoke. You can see the rejuvenation in Montgomery's actions afterwards. Jahmyr Gibbs says, "Of course I want David back. Lions running back game explained to the Pro Bowl games this week. The whole team would want David back, but it's ultimately up to him. He's going to do what's best for him and family. Wherever he decides to do, I'm going to support him 100%. Of course we want him back. With the experience and the ability to break tackles, yeah, absolutely. Several teams would be interested in trading for his services. But here's the thing, and I was having a conversation with my buddy TA from a Raw podcast behind the scenes. He said, Mike, make a video about the cap. Everyone's like, oh, the cap with David Montgomery. Yes, he's the 7th highest paid running back. So you cut David Montgomery, you save $5 million, and then you bring in a back in free agency. It's going to cost you a couple million. So really, what did you save? To be honest, the only logical explanation is if you're a draft a running back, that would be it. But if you're to pick one in free agency, it's kind of pointless. Just keep Montgomery. Right? He knows the system. He is still really good. The reason his production went down is the interior of the offensive line went down, and that's where he does his work. He's got a lot of wear left on his tire. To me, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. And that's why Jahmyr says it's really up to David Montgomery. because I do believe this is the situation here. Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are good people. And like they did with Matthew Stafford, they want to do their players right. And if they feel like David Montgomery wanted to leave elsewhere with his family and stuff, I could see this organization absolutely doing the best for him and his family because they're good, right? And they did it with Stafford. So if Montgomery now wants to stay after the conversation with Petzing, I think he stays. I do kind of think it was up to him, and I know Brad Holmes obviously a general manager, but if Montgomery's like, hey, I want to go, he's not going to be a prick and be like, no, you got to stay. That's not what's going to happen. But if he's now excited, keep him. We're going to be running so many times on game day. You cannot make Gibbs do all of those runs. He will be dead. You spread those carries around because we're going to be a run-first team now. We're going to be running more than we pass. Okay? So you got to have or another back, in my opinion, just keep David Montgomery. So now, with the hire of Petzing, I know a lot of people's like, waiting on the Kafka stuff. He's still hired, but that is a good news. If you're a Montgomery fan, the hiring of Petzing is good news for him, right? So do you think that Montgomery will be traded? Y for yes, N for no. Now I'm hoping no, and I'm going to go on the side of no now. Because why? All right, my man from SI.com, the Dak, and Vito Chiro, talking about 3 free agents the Lions could look at that is, for a pass rusher that is affordable, Boye Mafe, 40 pressures, 2 sacks. That absolutely is an option for Detroit. And he would be a cheap option. He's only 27. It's not like this guy is super old. But in my opinion, he would be a piece. But I'm fine with getting pieces right now. You got to get pieces, right? Perfectly fine with that if they get an edge for a piece. But not just we're just going to get one and that's it. That's not what this defensive line needs. This defensive line, folks, is a lack of talent on it. Let's keep it a buck. A lack of talent. Now, we hope Ali McNeil come back to his full potential, and I think he can, guys. I know he was rusty. I think he can, but we don't know. Tyreek Williams looked pretty good at the end of the year. You know, you got Aiden Hutch. We know what he brings. And then Al-Quadin Muhammad's a free agent. And then there's just kind of like everybody else. So the Lions need to invest in this defensive line. I love this idea of Joey Bosa. Now, I got an insider telling me that there's a good chance that he's not obviously coming to Detroit. So, doesn't mean that's the case. Free agency is a hit, right? Again, I would love Joey Bosa as a piece. A rotational piece. Totally love that idea. I have no problem picking up free agents or edges that are not going to give you a full, they're not going to be on the field 98% of the snaps. Because I don't believe in that. I believe in you got to get multiple edges and it gives each other breaks. Gives each other breaks, and they're refreshed. They're refreshed in season. They're refreshed in game by the end of the game. So I am all for it. Joey Bosa would be a good addition, but I'm thinking it's less likely from what I'm hearing. And, I mean, he's the Bills anyways as a free agent. Now, Al-Quadin Muhammad. I don't mind Al-Quadin Muhammad coming here. I like Al-Quadin Muhammad. We all do. Here's the problem with him. Before I get into it. Do you want Al-Quadin Muhammad to come back? Why for yes and for no? Right price, yes. Here's the problem. The price. The price. Right? I actually like him as a fit, too. He's a good run defender, in my opinion. But what is he going to demand now? I don't want to overpay him. I'm sorry. I think there is a little bit of Hutch is kind of making him a little bit in some sense. I don't want to pay him, 10, 11, $12 million. Because, again, I think there's that Hutch factor to it. And when you have that Hutch factor, you pay him that type of money. Is it going to work out, especially as a year older? Now they're saying $7.9 million on the open market. That's not bad, but I don't think that's what he's going to get. I think it's going to be a little bit more. So it's all about the money with him. I would do it at 7.9 for sure. Remember, Marcus Davenport got $10 million year one, $4 million year two. He definitely deserves more than that. I mean, especially playing through injuries and stuff. No doubt about it. But I'm not going to go above 10. My man from Heavy is talking about that this is, the chips were put in all on Petzing. And this is something that I talked about as well. And I do believe that Dan Campbell, there's going to be a little bit of fire if this offense doesn't work out. But I got to keep it about, guys. Especially if Kafka does stay here, because we're hearing those rumors. I think the offense will be fine. I do. With those four people, if they can't figure out to have a top three offense in the NFL, I would be stunned. We're talking about Jared Goff, Kafka, Petzing, and Dan Campbell. Look, it's Dan Campbell's offense. I think, now we got individuals that could really just set it up the way it needs to be. I'm not worried about it, but I do agree here that he put the chips in. Dan Campbell put the chips in. He could have got the splashy hire, but he went in here, and if this offense doesn't work out, hell yeah, it's going to look bad on him because Anthony Lynn didn't work out and John Morton didn't work out, so it's going to look bad, but we'll see. We'll see. But I'm a little bit more optimistic now with the Kafka, Goff speaking, and everything coming around. I am a little bit more optimistic. So give me your thoughts about the latest Lions news. Adios.